So my name is Zack, and I've actually been around the church since I was a little kid. My dad was one of the people that Bruce recruited when he was first starting. It was called McKinney Fellowship back then. So I was actually in this building whenever it was being built, and I remember running around and playing in the playground. But despite the fact that I grew up in the church, when I was probably 13, I had a friend give me a book on the Big Bang, and I start reading through it, and I'm looking at these different kind of scientific perspectives, and I'm like, this is all fake, and everything that I've learned growing up is a lie. And starting then, I sort of transitioned to being a very hardcore skeptic, kind of in the literal sense, and atheist. I guess the next time that I started thinking about it was after I left my job as an investment banker. Up until that point, I had sort of been so busy and focused on achievement and getting to the next level and saving money and making money that I didn't really have time to pull my head up and think about bigger questions. I just kept myself occupied. But it wasn't really until COVID happened that I seriously doubled down and started looking at Christianity again and looking at Jesus again. By that time last year, I was pretty comfortable with the idea of God and was starting to, I guess, just see evidence around me where it just made a lot of sense. But the idea of Jesus and the resurrection was still a big stretch. I started talking to Steve Chappell, mostly, and Bruce from time to time, and asking them some questions. And it felt really good because before then I had engaged with pastors and I had engaged with Christians, but I never got any kind of a satisfying dialogue. I would have a discussion with them and I'd start to poke and I'd start to ask some questions, and they would never give me a satisfying response or never would engage in a serious dialogue. I think it was Bruce that recommended a book to me by some serious intellectual theologians who had looked at the evidence for the resurrection. And they had seriously considered the counter-arguments against the resurrection, which to me seemed obvious because how could somebody, come back from the dead? It seems basically like a closed case and almost a silly thing to explore. And what I found by looking at that, reading that book and exploring their arguments and exploring the evidence was that you can't positively prove it because there's not a video camera and there's not pictures. It's eyewitnesses and people that were there at the time and written recordings that are, thousands of years old. But at the same time, what I learned is that there is a opening for a rational case for the resurrection. And you can believe in the resurrection without denying facts. And finally, I got to the point, this was Thanksgiving last year, where I was like, okay, I know that I can't get myself to do this. I can't make myself believe in this thing. It's not something that I can just flip a switch, and I just need help. And so I was driving home from Thanksgiving dinner with my family, and I was just like, if this is true, then help me to see it. If this is the truth, then I want to devote myself to the truth, and I want to live out the truth, even if it's something that I used to think is crazy, even if it means my friends are going to think I'm crazy. I mean, if that's what it costs, then it's a price that I'll pay, because it would be worse to be wrong. I mean, it'd be worse for that, even though it seems unbelievable, to be the truth and not to believe it and not to live it out. And I was just overwhelmed by this sense of just love and certainty. And I knew that I couldn't prove it, but I knew that it was real. I mean, I feel like I've discovered a whole new world, because suddenly I'm reading the Bible, and what used to frustrate me because it sounded like nonsense is delivering mind-blowing insight. And it's helping me to make decisions. And I want to learn more about it. And suddenly the thing that I'm most interested in is wisdom. I mean, that's what I'm after. I'm hungry for it, because I'm starting to realize the world it's chaotic and it's evolving, and I want to find stability, and I want to build a home, and I want to have a family. I'm 28 and I haven't figured that out yet. But then seeing this and understanding it, beginning to understand it, is showing me there actually is something that's stable. Like there is something that I can build a home on, and I can learn it. And it makes me want to speak to experienced Christians. It makes me want to talk to like people who have wisdom. And it makes me want to download that. It makes me want to read my Bible and go out and use it. And it makes me feel confident.